What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Your Average Girl Talk, where we aim to gain and give different perspectives on unpopular opinions and uncomfortable topics. Thank you to everyone tuning in from all different platforms. You already know what it is. I love you, babe. I love you. Okay. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about leaving your hometown. And anyone who knows me knows that I moved out at 19. I lived in Cali for a bit, so I'm going to touch on that, give you guys a little bit of my story. But I also have someone here who's going to kind of give you guys some insight on some other things to consider and experiences that she's had moving and leaving out of her hometown. So with that being said, let's introduce Savannah.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
My name's Savannah. I'm 19 years old. Right now I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I moved from my hometown of Troy.
Period.
Period.
Okay,
yes.
just like
period.
so.
Got out of there. Live in St. Louis. It's a whole different life. Like, for real.
I love it. And you're only 19. Like,
yes.
I'm not going to lie. So I actually met you very recently, and I did not know you were 19.
I'm sure you didn't, because you probably thought I was 21.
But no, that's awesome. And like I said, like, I moved out at 19 too, and I think all in all, you just have to grow up. So
very fast.
Very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to leave?
Well,
Troy?
I mean, when you talk about growing up fast, like, I've been grown ever since I was probably 14, 15, because I had things that happened in my life, as everyone does, where you just kind of have to, like, okay, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, this shit isn't fun. Like,
okay.
This is adult life, and I'm still in high school. Like, what?
Look.
So, you know, I had to grow up really fast, and I lived with both my parents, but it was like I didn't live with them. You know, like, I always paid for everything, always did everything on my own, bought both my cars. Like, it was just kind of like
a boss. Can we talk about it? Because she's a boss.
Okay, yeah, no.
Hello.
But it was like I lived with them, and they would, like, put meals on the table, like, stuff like that, because I didn't always have that as a kid, but I still needed to buy shit, you
right,
know?
okay.
So I always had the independent mindset from, like, a young age. So when I was, like, 18, I was like, look, I'm working, like, 2 jobs, making bank. Like, why don't I just, like, I was like, it's time for me to go.
I gotta
like,
bounce. Okay.
I gotta do something with myself. There's nothing for me here. I don't go to school out here. I don't have a job. Like, I worked in St. Louis.
Oh.
So I was like,
making that drive every day, like, at this point.
Yes. Like, I worked off
At this
Page
point.
Avenue. It was a whole hour drive.
Ooh.
And so I was like,
it's just time to go.
Time to go.
It's time to go. No,
real.
I feel that. And that's just, like, awesome that you were able to, like, make that happen. I mean, like you said, like, you kind of had to grow up anyway. But, like, it's really a big step leaving home. And I think some people don't always, like, realize that. Like, in the moment, at least for me, like, I was like, okay, I'm excited. Like,
leaving my parents' house.
You know? I'm like, it's, like, a big milestone in life. And everyone who kind of has, like, known me for a bit, like, I moved there to dance. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was just really excited, but also it kind of, like, punched me in the freaking throat, because I was like, just what I had to experience.
Like, okay, this is hard. This isn't all just fun and games.
Yeah. Now, do you have roommates, or do you live by yourself?
So I actually moved out with my sister. She graduated from SEMO in Cape Girardeau, so she was living out there up until when we moved out. I think it was May. Mm-hmm. We moved out there, so she graduated. We just both packed up and moved, like, and I mean, she's been on her own. My parents kind of supported her more, because she was, like, in college, so they, like, gave her money and, like, bought her car and shit. Yeah. But since I was just working, you know, it was like, well, she got her own money, she's cool. But, yeah, so
but I wasn't, okay.
But I wasn't, yeah, okay. But then we both moved out, and we've been there, I guess, since May. So how many months is that? 6, something like that?
Something.
I'm not going to count.
But
I'm going to say it's 6.
Okay. We're going to go with 6 months.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know for me, like, when I was in Cali, like, I had roommates. I mean, you have to. It's just so, obviously everyone knows it's expensive. And so for me, that was really where I had to grow up, because, I mean, I was, like, a pushover. Like, I didn't really do well with, you know, uncomfortable, like, situations or, like, arguments. Yeah, like, I don't know. I got along with everyone, like, growing up. It was fine. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, other people come into your life, and now finances are something to consider, and just the way people live. Like, I just wasn't ready for that, you know? Like, of course, I've always been good, like, with bills and stuff. Like, that was, like, whatever. But I'm like, now it's not just me paying bills. I'm depending on other people.
You gotta make sure
to help.
Girl.
So it made me grow up in the sense of, like, socially and, like, having a voice and being able to speak on things and talk about things that I'm not okay with, or just dealing with situations I've never had to deal with before. And it was uncomfortable, but I definitely, like, grew from it. And I think that's a lot of where I'm at, like, today. So, but you lived with your sister, so that seems like that was kind of nice.
No, it's definitely a blessing, because I've never dealt with, because, I mean, we're sisters, we fight like sisters. We've been best friends growing up. Like, we've never really, like, because I know some people aren't close with their family like that, but it was always just me and her. Yeah. And, like, if we have a problem, we're just like, hey, like, wash the dishes.
That's
like,
it.
Dude, clean the bathroom. Like, we go back and forth. It's like, it's whatever. And, like, she has a cat. I'll take care of her cat back and forth, like, when she's gone. Yeah. Her car actually, like, just broke down, so she was driving my car. Man. So it's like, but I drove her car for a minute, because when I first moved there, I didn't have a car. Man. Because I totaled my car right when I moved out.
Ooh, stressed.
Yeah. No, the whole month of May, like, I had COVID. I crashed my car twice. I moved out. Like, my friend died. It was all types of shit.
It was a lot, like a rough month.
So it kind of made moving out feel like, is this the best decision? Like, this shit is happening because I moved out. Like, this seems really bad.
Girl, I could only imagine. But, I mean, like, I literally give you so much props, because, like, you had to, like, do it, and you did it for yourself, and you made it happen.
Had to.
For real. Yeah. And some people, like, it's different. It's case by case on why, on how, and, I was grateful that my family's always kind of been supportive, so when I did decide to go, they helped out a lot, which is a blessing, but it's, like, it's not always the case, but you a boss. Great. And she made it happen, so I'm like, literally, girl, like, kudos to you. I love it. What are, I guess, some of the challenges, I guess, you've felt like you faced since leaving home?
Well,
if any.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because it was just kind of like good and bad. You had the pros of, like, moving out, being on your own, being able to do your own thing, your own schedule, no one on your back. Yeah. But it was also, and like I said, when I lived at home, it was basically like I lived alone anyway. So, like, I moved out, and it wasn't like, oh my God, I have to pay my phone bill now? Yeah, it's like, girl, I've been doing that since I had a flip phone. Like,
been doing it.
Like, what? This is nothing new. It was just rent. That was really the only, like, new thing. But I guess one of the biggest challenges is, so I live in St. Anne area, and it's like, every time I tell people that, they're like, oh, it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. Yeah. It's not. It's just because it's by Florissant.
Like, I'm good.
It's cool. Fine. But we do have a lot of tweakers, like, for real. I'm just going to say it like it is, because I had someone in my driveway the other day.
Yeah, with tweakers.
Yesterday, she coming up to my car, and she's like, that guy's in the cartel over there? Like, pointing to the tweaker house, like, on the street. And I was like, no, he just smoked crack. Like, he's not in the cartel.
No cartel, babe.
And I'm like, okay. She's like, do you know him? I said, no, I don't know him, but I know you need to get out my driveway.
That's it. Check him and keep it pushing.
And she was like, okay. I'm like, yeah,
good talk. Okay. She's like, I'm safe, but there's tweakers everywhere. Girl, it was like that in Cali, too. I'm like, that was one thing. Like, I think here's my thing, is I don't really want to live alone. Like, right now, like, I moved back home, I'm with my family and stuff, and I don't want to be in a place by myself, and that's just because, like, kind of from living in Cali and having tweakers around, like, I don't want to get, caught up in nothing, just being alone. So, like, I hope the next time I move out, like, I got a partner. Like, I don't really want a roommate, but hopefully, because that's one thing. I'm scary. Girl, no, hopefully, because I ain't trying to live alone. I'm scary, okay? I am scary.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Not okay. I'll pass. But it's cool to actually hear, like, how young you are. Like, I don't know why I'm stuck on that, but I'm like, it's like you're 19 and, like, you're doing what you got to do. And I just know, like, me moving out at 19, like, yeah, my family helped, but as soon as I was, like, there, like, I was there and I had my own responsibilities and stuff.
They weren't there with you.
Yeah, and you really do have to grow up in a lot of different cases and prioritizing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no one's on your back, but that don't mean you can
but really... But it's pros and cons of someone not being on your back.
Yeah, because I had to figure out, like, a routine for me. I'm like, okay, do I need to be, like, outside all the time and then get up for work in the morning, or do I
need
not?
To be spending all my money on this shit, or do I want to save for rent?
Period. And so I do think a plus or a pro to moving out, especially at a young age or just in general, is just, like, the responsibilities, like, you gain and just how much you grow as a person in general. Yep. And I'm just really happy that I did it at 19. So, like, that's really great that you're doing it right now. And you just know how to take care of yourself, because it's easy to get complacent in life when you have support.
Yeah.
I think we've all, and maybe at one point or another, we've been there, even if it's like, with friendships or whatever it is. It's easy to get complacent when you're like, yeah, they're always going to be there. It's fine.
Comfortable, yeah.
Yeah. But when you move out, like, you just have to really deal with stuff that you didn't know you had to deal with, and just things you don't think about. Like, it was just so much stuff. Like, I'm like, what is going on? But I would encourage anyone to do it. Make the mistakes young. And I think me and my mom talk about that a lot, is like, it was different for her. She had me at 19, and luckily, like, her family was supportive and, like, watching me, and, so she was able to work, but, like, I'm able to make these mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, learn, not even mistakes necessarily, but, like, I'm able to learn these things now. I'm like, I got that all figured out. I got myself in debt. All of this at, like, 19, 20. Great. That ain't gonna happen again. And now, like, we have a lifetime to implement. Yeah, literally implement what we've learned. And I'm just like, I would really encourage anyone to leave, because it forces you to grow up, you know? And not just leave just to leave or whatever, but if you're thinking about it, I say try it. Means, try it. And you could, hopefully you have the support and you're able to kind of come back, but I think there's a lot more pros than cons to leaving. And, and of course, sometimes you get screwed or you make mistakes, and then you kind of, go through a little bit, but you have to. And I would just really encourage anyone to do it younger. Like, do it when you're young. Like,
yeah, seriously. Because if you're old, like, your mom, she had you, so if she's trying to do that with a kid, like, man, that makes everything 10 times harder and 10 times more expensive.
10 times more expensive, like, and, she figured it out. Like, she's doing
the damn
well.
thing.
She sure did. But, when we had that conversation, she's like, yeah, you're figuring this all out now, when I figured this out in, like, my late 20s when I bought a house. Like,
that's exactly what my mom says to me, because she was literally in your mom's situation.
Literally.
Because she didn't even get, like, her driver's license till after she had me. Because she didn't, like, her mom didn't teach her how to drive.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow. It's crazy. I think... And I don't know, I think there's a lot of us, like, or a lot of, like, our parents' generation, like, we're kind of just in the same boat. And they kind of made the mistakes for us.
And then they then they know the mistakes we're making. Like, with me, obviously, we've all made mistakes. But I feel like I've made a lot. Like, I've done some shit.
Okay.
But so is everyone. I mean, whatever. But, like, my mom always knows what I'm going to do or what I have done before. I, like, she's like,
she knows the outcome. Period.
Or she'll tell me, like, especially, like, even just on a level with, like, say, friendships, because I've had some really bad friends in the past, and she always knows. Like, she'll be like, I don't know about that one, or, like, that's weird, like, why would they do that to you? And I'm like, nah, that's my best friend, like, she would never do that. And then they do it 2 months later. I'm like, you know what, Mom?
You called it out. I had to tell her she was right so many times.
Oh, so many times. And I'm going to have to do it till the day one of us dies,
babe. Like, got to. They're always right. But it's like they did experience it, and my mom said the same thing, like, moving out. She's like, like, you guys just kind of met. Are you sure? I'm like, well, shit, look, it was a process. It was a journey. But,
right.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited that you were able to come on. And I feel like I like to know you a little bit or whatever. Like, hello. So, thank you for coming and kind of telling your story. Like,
it's so fun.
Being vulnerable and, like,
I love talking. I talk, especially in the camera.
Like, hello. She's like, okay. I love it. So, I'll definitely have to have you back on. I'll definitely link her IG below. So, y'all gonna have to follow her. Okay. Y'all can go ahead and follow her. Show her some love. And keep an eye out on my IG story to vote for the upcoming topics. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.